Howdy, so I'm about to shoot a shop tour of my father's shop here in Pennsylvania. We're visiting for a few days from Georgia, and I just want to give you a little bit of the background of my inspiration for why I got into woodworking to begin with, and also just kind of give you a shop tour of my dad's dream shop, which he dreamed about for years and years and then finally built. So I actually grew up in that house up on the hill there. My father built that house from the ground up by himself. I grew up in that house and lived there for 18 years before I moved out. And he always had a shop in his basement. He was a shop teacher for 33 years before he retired and taught thousands of, actually about 5,000 students the basics of woodworking and shop safety. But anyhow, he wanted to build a detached shop on that property or on the adjacent acre, and based on building codes, he actually had to build another house. So he decided, why not build his retirement home? And that's where this thing came into be. Sorry about the glare, but there's about 4,400 square feet under roof here, a quarter of which is shop, and all the living is on the ground floor here. So it's a genuine retirement home. You could roll a wheelchair all the way through it. My dad kind of jokes about that. And then above is unfinished attic, and then above on the living side is, so this side is shop and this side is living side. This is attic that's unfinished for storage of lumber, and this is kind of like a mother-in-law apartment where families such as myself stay when we come here. It's really windy, so we'll go ahead and go on inside. Here's the entrance to my dad's shop. Hey, boss.
Hi.
So this is Carl Harpster. He was a shop teacher for 33 years. This is my dad, my inspiration for any woodworking that I do, and this is his dream shop. It's 23 by 52, so about 1,200 square feet. And just a few of the features that came with him being able to plan and build this shop himself is he's actually got dust collection piping buried in the concrete slab. He's done all the wiring himself, so everything's customized, and it's a work in progress. He started this project in-house in 2010 when he retired, and his priority is still finishing the living side. So he's put the shop projects on a back burner except for as he needs to. And Dad, you want to just take us on a tour?
Sure. As Chris said, this is a shop, a work in progress. It's a dream shop. You can see by scanning here that it's still work in progress. We're finally getting to the point to where we're insulating the walls. It hasn't been insulated for 4 or 5 years, and we're in the process of getting things set up so that virtually everything will have its place and be in its place, except when it's being used to construct whatever I'm building. But love this shop. I've done numerous things in it, and have built a house out of it. Virtually, it was one of the things that became the most workable first off, and again, it's still work in progress. It has many unique features. One of them is LVL beams. A friend of mine did the computer-aided design work for this place, and in the living section, which is through that green door, it is 2 feet longer than this shop. This shop is, I think Chris may have said, but it's 23 by about 52. The house section, which is over there, is 23 by 54 with a second story. The second story on the shop is basically what I use for lumber storage and drying. Right now I have approximately 2,000 to 3,000 board foot of lumber their friend Mr. Ray Zook and Debbie Zook gave me in log form, and then I had it cut, and now it's stacked and stripped upstairs drying. Again, it's a dream shop. It's everything I've envisioned over the years of teaching industrial arts technology education, and it's what I've applied here. I've had numerous events here to where I kind of teach, but I set things up in jig and fixture form, And then I have families and friends in, and we make things. We've made everything from tic-tac-toe games to birdhouses to, well, just many things. I am kind of slipping a lot of the ideas, but form everything in jigs and fixtures, and we take it from there.
This is what your table saw and a 5-foot by 4-foot work table. It's going to have a final plywood top. He loves his full extension drawer glides, making a lot of drawers underneath things.
My plans are to have everything in a drawer, and a full extension drawer or almost there, so that you can pull it out. And I have a couple of carts that I'll show you to where I want to build drawer sections on them. I also want to have outfeeds for various machines on top of it, so that there will actually be a storage container but an outfeed section. This is my cutoff saw. I built a unit that basically collected dust. It does well without dust collection, but it does even better with the dust collection.
And that's what, 4-inch PVC.
This morning I just added this adapter as I was cutting some scrap wood for my wood furnace, and it seems to collect the dust even better, but I do get off-fall dust here.
And then that's where it comes out of the ground.
Right.
And this is what, a cabinet that came out of something?
It's kind of unique because that cabinet right there came out of the first school that I ever taught at, but it was transferred to another school and placed in a home ec room.
Okay, so they were renovating and...
Yeah.
Okay.
The table saw, I'm satisfied with where it's located, and then I have that 4x5 workbench to where it can be an off feed when I don't have things on it. Right now it's a little, various things are taking place in the shop, and I have a drill and some cabinet pieces on it.
Okay.
In consultation with Chris, we've kind of decided that the shaper, which has been here for as many years as I've had the shop, which is about 4 to 5 now, we're going to be transferring it back beside the planer where the compressor currently is, because it would be better for long runs there, and it would also have various shaping machines in the same area to where you'd end up having the joiner, the planer, and the shaper in the same relative area. Meanwhile, the bandsaw, which I've had back there for the duration that we've had the room, is probably going to be moved to where the shaper is. I'm looking at the grinders and the sharpening machinery to end up being on one of the front 2 corners of the shop eventually.
Okay, so kind of out of the way.
Including, I have a wood lathe that I would like to put in those areas.
Okay.
I'm thinking of consolidating most things to where it would be closest to the entry to the dust collector.
You mean sanding? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Sanding, those machines that make the fine dust, they eradicate that fine dust right away. And I'm also looking at buying a air filtration unit, perhaps ceiling hung.
You should check out YouTube. There's a lot of people making those things.
Okay.
But so his dust collection's on the other side. It's actually in the garage.
Yeah, we're going to show you that, but again, everything's a work in progress, especially the last couple of days, because we've removed a lot of lumber scraps, and they're currently in my garage where the dust collector's located.
No worries, Dad.
The dust collector, which has worked very well, and the majority of my machines are Grizzly. I will add a tidbit here that I've been kind of disappointed with the Grizzly company when they closed their Williamsport or Muncie operation, because I like to make frequent yearly trips there, and now I can't do so. Yeah. But I understand the way companies operate, and making the best of logistics and all, why they may have made the move to Springfield and Bellingham, Washington only.
So to put that in perspective, this thing is about 10 feet tall from motor to floor, and that drum holds about 55 gallons of wood chips.
Yep.
And it's cyclone filtration, and then fine particulate comes out into the bag over here.
It goes over into the right drum, and it works well. However, I can say that if I mill approximately 10 to 14 boards, the dust collector is full. That means from rough to whatever shape they're going to be for use.
There's a couple Christmas projects and a future dining table that's going to be a cabinet, a base cabinet. He's going to build a permanent mounted dining table with cabinetry underneath.
Including various parts to cabinets and all, which are in the process.
Sure. And that's his old job site table saw he used for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm still using it for events to where we have family and friends in, and again I have jigs and fixtures set up for all those particular events.
Well, here's I'm sorry, Dad, don't want to move on yet. There's your router table. He's got 2 routers for roundovers and edge finishing that he drapes across the shaper table.
And this was formed for one of those family events that we had. I had, the last one was napkin holders, and I had it over my shaper clamped on,
sure.
And they had various roundover bits that they could round them over. I'm getting better at dust collection. You can see I encapsulated one of the routers. And then it has a 4-inch outlet to where I just stick one of my 4-inch dust collection pipes into it. And I was really pleased with the way it worked the other day.
Okay. Sure. 8-inch joiner.
Chris being home for a week and a half, I'm getting a lot done. This area was cluttered with all kinds of wood. He built a storage area here, and there's going to be other ones for short material. Some of that is wormy chestnut, and then a variety of other woods, cherry and pine and hemlock. Meanwhile, we built this lumber rack, or Chris built the lumber rack, and he figured it will hold about 1,000 board feet of lumber plus. So that's exactly what I needed. And I'm looking at the various racks. Right now I have ash, I have cherry, I have red oak, and let me see what other. I have quite a bit upstairs drying, and tend to pull it down here. Meanwhile, in the process, I want Chris to show you over there near the wood furnace.
Are we talking about the piping?
No,
Oh, your lumber rack.
Here's
There's cherry right there. A couple.
I have what I call a final acclimation lumber rack. Now, in all my studies and whatnot, especially at Penn State in industrial arts, they stress kiln-dried lumber, kiln-dried lumber, kiln-dried lumber. Yes, I agree, it is the best, but it depends on who's doing the kiln firing and the drying and how they do it. I've actually dealt with some local people that when they kiln dry lumber, and I end up pulling it into my school shop or now this shop, it dries out much, much more in a wood-fired situation. So that's the reason for that lumber rack. It's to final acclimate things before they're finally put into use. And that's where most of this material.
This will be another video, but a couple of things, projects he's done in retirement. He actually, you can see the pipes going into the furnace here. He actually heats his domestic hot water with the wood stove. And then you can see his circulator pump here. He has a solar unit on the roof that he made to where he heats a lot of water in the summer. And then there's 2 50-gallon hot water tanks there that for water storage. And of course, he can override the wood or the solar systems and heat with electricity too.
And of course, you can see we're still getting wood storage where we need to be.
That's all right.
And anyhow, we have it right now wherever it fits.
So there are 10-foot ceilings in here. Is that?
There's basically, it comes out to be about 9.5-foot ceilings. When I built it, it was 10.
Okay, that's really nice for swinging long boards in here.
Yeah, it's turned out perfect. And where I forgot in the earlier discussion, I pointed out the 1 LVL beam. When my friend was designing it, we were planning an LVL beam in the living section so that it would be open in the front. And meanwhile, he said, well, wouldn't you want an LVL in the front of your shop? And when the plans came through, there were 2 more LVLs. And at first it's like, ouch, because of the cost. I mean, each LVL was between $1,000 and $2,000 just for the materials, which we put together when we were building it. But it comes out to be perfect for a shop.
Sure.
Because you have this area that's completely open, and like Chris mentioned in a little bit of earlier discussion here, the swinging of materials is great. The only issue I sometimes have is with the heating and air conditioning system. Occasionally I will hit the unit up here, or the ductwork, I should say.
And then these cabinets, so these cabinets all came out of a renovated school also. So just something to keep your eyes out for if you know somebody that's redoing a kitchen or a school that's renovating. You know, going at getting prefab cabinets can really save you a lot of time and money there.
And a lot of these cabinets, they came out of my former Lewistown Middle School, and they were offered by the principal of the school, which was turned into an intermediate school, but the condition was that they had to be removed within 3 days before Christmas. And Chris helped me to remove them, and we brought them in-house, and I've been surprised how perfectly they've worked.
And this is several years ago.
Because as you can see, they almost fit perfectly wall to wall. Some of these cabinets, as I mentioned earlier, like these, and one has a broken handle. This particular cabinet and that one there followed me from my very first years of teaching. It came from Chief Logan Middle School, and then it was incorporated into the Lewistown Middle School home ec room. And then when they changed it to an intermediate school, I was able to absorb it all just through equity and work and bring it here in my shop. I planned a concrete countertop, which has worked very well for pounding and working on. It is poured. I made an edging using my table saw molding head, and then I poured this. It basically took a day to pour until I pre-mixed all the concrete and put it in, and I had the help of a friend to do it. It has turkey wire or cloth in it, and it only has 1 layer to where I did a kitchen countertop to where I put 2 layers.
So this was your practice
But yes,
for the kitchen.
this was practice for the kitchen,
Okay.
which my wife and I did not really like for the final countertop because of the fact I didn't apply the correct finishes. As you can see maybe on this countertop, it has kind of a yellowish cast, and that is because it was done with a clear based polyurethane. If I had it to do over, I would probably use an epoxy type of finish. Because what I found is the countertop looks like the final trial finish right now, but if you get it wet, you get water on it, it doesn't look good. But when it dries, it turns back to the same color. On these cupboards, this at one point was a blank face. Then I ended up cutting out the blank face and ended up making a drawer with storage compartments for screws. Likewise, this was a blank face which I added and made for the pull-outs for full extension glides. Not just those, but these 2 drawers over here.
So you have what, hardware storage,
I have a
clamp storage,
area,
so electrical, and then this is drill bits, kind of close to the drill press
and
here.
router bits. And my plans are for the drill press area, since it's a tabletop drill press, I'm looking at getting rid of this black metal stand and actually building a stand underneath it to where it will have pull-out drawers for all the drill bits, everything that hole saws that I might use.
Oh, can I show you something real quick? So, technique I've used at my previous houses, he just uses brad nails to hang a lot of tools, outline them. But rather than making a wood holder for each, he just hangs a sheet of plywood, paints it white, and then figures out the best way to hold it with a couple brad nails. And that holds most of his tools, and then sometimes he makes custom holders, such as for the chisels right there.
And this area might be readapted as I go.
Sure.
Again, it's a dream shop, and I just keep readapting, redoing to make things work the best for me. And again, I like having these various times to where I invite people in and share my shop. And it's kind of the teaching end of me. I'm not just not afraid to have like 14 people in. And I was a different industrial arts technology ed teacher, because in 8th grade, if there was a machine present within the shop, I taught safety like crazy, but we used it. And each student had to perform various functions in the machines, and as we were completing our wood unit, but they also learned the safety. By the way, if they did not pass the safety section of the test, they were only allowed to use it in those functions that I'd specifically designed safety. Then from that point on, they weren't allowed to use those particular machines until they did pass the particular safety test. Another area that I designed into the house, since we heat with wood, an area I designed was what I call a wood drop. In here on the right, we have a wood bin that I created with various 2x8s.
So these are tongue and grooved, right? So
yeah,
as you use the wood, you can pull it apart. This is also finishing room.
And I'm going to turn this even better into a finishing room, because up there's going to be a hood with a spark resistant approved finishing fan, and it's going to go out through the one concrete wall over here. Meanwhile, I'm going to have spark resistant lighting, so that there's no chance of an explosion or a fire. And mostly I'm looking at removing the fumes of brushed on finishes. If I do any spray finishing, it's probably going to be outside with a respirator.
Old drill press, mortiser, scroll saw. Old bandsaw he uses for metal sawing now.
Yeah, even though it's a wood bandsaw, it's worked very great for cutting aluminum, cutting even metal. I've used it to cut out various brackets and shapes. It's just the way I've used it since I've moved to my bigger 19-inch Grizzly bandsaw for the wood.
It's nice to have a sink for cleaning up finishes or glue. Collect a lot of hardware. This needs some sorting, but he's got tubs of hardware, a lot of peanut butter jars that he's used over the years to store and sort hardware.
So much that I tease the local hardware owner that he makes a lot more money from me because I have a lot of hardware and all, and I don't know where it is. I'm currently, again, in the process of making all kinds of drawers to store all these hardware items, rather than being just in a can or a container and stashed someplace.
Sure.
Underneath the steps is going to be a bathroom for mostly people that if we're in the house and we have a work event, they have to use a bathroom. Right there it is.
Keeps you from getting dust in the house.
Yep.
And he'll have a shower here too. It'll be a fully functioning 3/4 bath.
When it's all said and done. Basically, again, this is my dream shop. All the machines, equipment, tools you see have been garnered over about 40 years. 40 years of not only teaching, but for 25 years I had a part-time construction business to where I virtually built everything except for full homes. I did a lot of sunrooms, I did a lot of decks, a lot of patios, a lot of garages, a lot of sunrooms. I love doing that end, and I did it again for approximately 25 years. But welcome. I'm glad you had this tour of my shop. Even though I was a teacher, I can verbalize, but there's a lot of areas on this tape or this video that could be edited.
Probably won't, Dad. That's good. There's your air compressor with nail gun storage, bandsaw, everything he's trying to put on wheels. This actually has a wheeled base that can be adjusted. There's some cherry cabinets. The cherry actually came off of the property that the shop is located on. Clamp storage. Electrical is dropped from the ceiling. And that concludes the shop tour. I hope you enjoyed it.